Hey there, and welcome to Full Steam Ahead. Today we are checking out Tiny Glade. This is a new game that's sort of cozy and comfortable, and the entire goal is to make your own glade. And what is a glade? It's effectively whatever you want it to be, but primarily it is a collection of buildings and castles and towns or churches or whatever you want it to be. So let's open up another glade that I have here. And you can see that a glade is effectively just a collection of buildings or water features, or just tiny sheep that you can pet. So in this game, the goal is just to make what you want. So today they do a daily castle build, or a daily idea, and today was castle on a cliff. So I built my little cliffside here, and upon the cliffside I built my little castle. And my castle has a big tower. I've got a bridge down here that leads into a side entrance, and I've got a church over here that is sort of acting as a hidden away building behind the castle. If I wanted to go further, I could, build a small town or set of buildings down here, maybe a bakery or something like that, that looks up at the castle. And then there's a lot of other things I could do. Build a guest house, that type of thing. But the whole goal here is that I'm effectively just creating what I want. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, what I love about this game is how easy it makes it to make what I want. So let's go ahead and open up a new map here, a new glade, and just show off these tools that we've made. So you can see here on the default map that they've given me this building here. It looks like a little cottage with 2 floors. And I can see that there's a couple of different pieces here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different pieces, and they're all just the cube. So this object right here, so these are the buildings. So I can see that there's 4 different cubes. The other pieces are a cylinder, a wall, a fence, these types of things. Then there's a path tool, and the path tool interacts with all of these. And then there's windows and different objects, a color palette, an eraser, a terrain tool, so you can raise and lower terrain, flowers, trees, and water. And you can also change the time of day into pictures, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So I just want to talk about each of these in turn. So let's talk about the different things you can do. So you can see here, when I right click on this cylinder, I get all the sort of different options for affecting this cylinder. So I can move it around, I can make it lighter or thinner, I can move it up and down, and I can also raise the base, which is pretty cool. So there's a ton you can do, and you can also raise and lower the roof. Now if I just mouse over the roof when I'm not in this right click mode, I can also, which is one of the things I like the most actually, can make the roof thinner, wider, taller, and I think this is a ton of fun. Now if I go all the way down, I get a sort of flat top, which you can use for a lot of different things, including one of my personal favorites is just making a little balcony on your building. And you can see how quickly I did that. It took me 5 seconds to whip that over into a balcony here. Yeah, so you can do much of the same things with the cube. So I can raise and lower. I can actually also rotate the roof. which has a lot of uses. I can extend and make it thin, rotate it, throw it in this building just to make a weird looking side roof, and all sorts of different things. Great, so let's talk about the wall and fence tools. So the wall and fence sort of operate on this point system here. So I can grab and move in those points. If I take the cut tool, that splits the wall into pieces. If I take this tool back up, I can make a bunch of different points. So you can see a ton of customizable points to utilize. And the same is true for the fence. So all the same controls are here. Raise and lower it. I can split it into pieces and drag those parts around. Then we've got the path tool, and the path tool likes to interact with the world around it. So primarily you're just making a path, so I can draw paths on the ground, but if the path intersects with another piece on the ground, it's going to do something special. So if I draw it through the fence, it's going to make that archway. Same thing for the wall. On this little rock or hill I made, if I draw a path up it, and it's steep enough, it'll make stone stairs. If I draw a path into a wall here, like this, it's going to make a doorway. If I keep going, I can make crazy looking archways or like cutaway things. And the same is true of these sort of round buildings as well. So the pathing tool can be used in a lot of different ways. Then we've got these sort of objects and windows, which I really love. So if I add one window to a wall, it makes a really pleasant looking window. I can just click on that to change it up a little bit. Then if I were to add another window just adjacent to that, I do even more. I make it wider, and I can do it one more time to make a third wide window. You can use it in a ton of different ways. So you can really decorate your buildings really well with this. There's also another window type, which comes with 3 other sizes as well. And there's also this sort of arrow slit, which has 3 sizes. Then there's light features, which you can put on the ground or on walls. There's banners and flags, which you can put in all sorts of different ways. And then if you put them close enough to each other, it makes little flags in between. You can also place them on roofs like that. There's a chimney tool, of course. And I can have that extend or even almost fly, really. And they've all got this really pleasant smoke coming out the top. And then there's our color palette, where we can change the color. Basically anything you can click on. You can also change the styling on it as well. So a ton of great things to do. And that's really the beauty of this game, is just being able to create whatever is on your mind. And then over here, we've got the flowers. So I can make that, we can make it bigger. I think there's only 2 layers of that. Then there's trees. And you can make it as messy or as not as you want. And if I click the water tool, you can make a nice little water feature here. So it's super easy to make a pleasant looking place. So let me make, like, for example, if I want to make a little island out here in the water, I can do that super easily. Just like that. And then if I add the pathing tool, go out to the water. Great, so I've made a sort of, we'll call it beautiful, vision of what I wanted to create, but what do you do with that? How do you share that with other people? And that's a great question. So over here on the right, I mentioned it all the way at the beginning, but there's a camera tool. So when I click on the camera tool, it's going to give me that sort of default angle, that default focal length, all of that type of stuff. And I can just click this button to save an image. But there's a bunch of different tools beyond that. So I can change the zoom, I can change the aperture, I can add a little vignette, the focal length, any of that type of stuff. I can mess with the different colorings and the color balance. There's a bunch of different filters here. Like this one really makes those blues pop. Let's see if I can go back to the default. I think it's this one. You can also change the angle of the sun as well as the time of day. And there's also, over here on the left, there's a couple of different ways to view. So there's bird's eye view, there's walking view, which is a really popular thing that you'll see on Twitter a lot, I'm sure. And then there's a top-down map view, which I expect within the next few months when someone makes a huge town to see them take a photo this way, throw a grid on it, and then sort of make a Dungeons & Dragons battle map. That would not surprise me in the least. So yeah, a ton of great tools for taking cute photos of your glade. And it's just here to serve you and so you can make the vision that you want. So if I click on the cogs up here, top right, and go back to the main menu. I mentioned this earlier, but there is a daily theme. So this can sort of drive you to your next glade. But yeah, I've been having a great time playing this game. I played the demo when it came out months and months ago for Steam Next Fest. And I think it's been a great time, and I highly suggest you pick this one up if it sounds like a type of game you would enjoy. Great for relaxing in the evening, just making a little castle town, however you want it to be. Alright, thanks for watching so much. I appreciate you checking out this episode of Full Steam Ahead. Let me know in the comments below what type of castles you've been enjoying making, and if you have the ability to, share an image of it. Alright, have a great rest of the day, and if you would like and subscribe on this video. Have an amazing rest of the day.